What do we want to talk about? Preferably the Goldbergs, I think.
Yeah, so what's this dynamic duo Batman episode about, man? Can't wait to scream it.
Pops and Adam go see Batman, Tim Burton's Batman in 1989, although we never say 89 because they never really give the year on the show. So they go see Batman, and there's obviously a cultural difference. For Pops, Batman is Adam West, and it's all fun and games, and for Adam, Batman is Michael Keaton, and it's dark, and he's the Dark Knight and stuff. So we get to play with some of those tropes, and meanwhile, the storyline with Erica is facing the fact that she wants to go to a college, and she's not going to get into the college she wants to get into, and she kind of blows her college entrance on this other college that she doesn't want to go to. But really, it's all about that.
For you, is it Michael Keaton or Adam West?
Michael Keaton. I love Adam West because he was my Batman when I was a kid. But like Michael Keaton was at a time when we never thought as a comic book fan, you never thought you would see that. You thought you would see iterations of the Bam Biff Pow Batman, and then suddenly they gave us a movie where, if you can believe it or not, we were like, it's so dark. Like, you know, when you look at Tim Burton Batmans now, you're like, it's not very dark, but it seemed like it by comparison and shit. And so I was a big comic book fan at that point, and as I still am. But I mean, then it was like, finally, this is representation of what Batman really is and shit. Even though he used a gun and shit, which he doesn't really. So it was the Batman of like the Adam West Batman, which I loved, was a Batman of a generation prior to me, from the late '60s and stuff. And so I got to watch it on reruns. But Tim Burton's Batman, more specifically Michael Keaton's Batman, that was my first Batman. You know, other than the cartoons and stuff, that was the one where I'm like, oh my God, it represents everything we thought this character was. And the beauty of Keaton's performance, too, was like, he doesn't have the physical bearing that a Batfleck has. Batfleck, Ben just looks like a fucking wall with a cape on and shit. Michael Keaton looked like Mr. Mom, but they had that cool idea of like, stick him in the suit. Batman's not, you know, he doesn't have to be a wall of muscle. He's a mind. He's a great detective. He's the world's greatest detective and stuff. So put him in a suit. He has to be well trained, but he doesn't have to be ripped upon ripped and shit. And so that made a Batman that we could all like get our heads around, where it's like, oh, you don't have to be impossibly in shape. So by that token, if I can fit into that suit, I could be Batman. You know? So that Michael Keaton Batman was my fave. And I know, like, you know, I love Ben and stuff, and he's playing him now, but the emotional connection that I have to the Keaton Batman is pretty intense. So that's before when I think of that Batman, that's before I ever wanted to be a filmmaker. So that was when I was just a person that watched movies and stuff. And so that represents like a real, not innocent time, because it's not like I got corrupted or something, but just like that was a time before that I would be in this room, where I would be just watching this show, not directing it. So when I think of Michael Keaton, it reminds me of everything that happened before Clerks. It was like one of the last meals, cultural meals I ate before I went out on my own journey and started trying some shit. So maybe that's why I'm partial to it. Sorry, how are you, sir?
Hi, Kevin. Was your 80s very similar to the Goldbergs?
So much so that every episode I watch, I go, fuck, why didn't I make this show? Like that, when I first watched the Goldbergs, I was like, God damn it, it's so close to, like, I had a mother, father, we had a grandparent lived around the block, older sister, middle brother, younger brother. So the whole structure is there. They're in Jenkintown, which is not very far from Highlands, New Jersey. They're in Pennsylvania, very close to us. Grew up around the same time with all the same fucking references. Maybe Adam's a little younger than me, so he's more G.I. Joe and Transformers than I am. But generally speaking, it is like watching my childhood. And the really fucking dopey thing is, like, right before I fell into the Goldbergs, like, I was writing this flick where I was like, you know, nobody's done like a Christmas story in a while. Like an omniscient narrator who just fucking talks about his childhood. I'm going to start writing that. Then Matt Myra called me up. I do a podcast with him called Talk Salad and Scrambled Eggs. And we do unasked for commentary tracks of every episode of Frasier. So he works on Goldbergs now. And he goes, would you ever direct an episode of Goldbergs? And I was like, oh God, yeah, that sounds fun. Let's fucking do it. When? And he goes, oh, it's after Christmas or something. And so after Christmas, he was like, oh, it's a Batman episode. And I was like, that couldn't be better. Like, now I'll do a good job. I didn't know what I was going to do before that. But, fuck, I forgot what you asked, Fred. What was the main point?
How different was your 80s from the 80s?
From his. Adam's. So when I went to the show and look around, it looks like, you know, he probably grew up with a little more money than I did. He had all the toys. I had some of them. But it's very, very close. And in his 80s and my 80s are very similar. Same cultural references and stuff like that. Fun thing about being on the show is when you walk around the set, it's just when you're not when you're between takes, you know, they're setting up. When the people are actually working and you're just standing around, it's eye candy. You just look around and you're like, oh my God, I remember this. I had this. Oh my God. And not just in the kids' room, everywhere in the house. So it looks like my 80s, and that's why it's probably easy to jump in. But I'll be honest with you, like this, I don't want to ruin it for other TV directors, but this TV directing episodic thing is like, it's a scam and a half. Because think about it, like you've got a show like Goldbergs episode, season 4 is when I come into it. Season 4, man, you've been up and running for a long time. These actors know exactly what they're fucking doing. They don't need no help from you. You're not going to be like, let me tell you how you're feeling in this scene. Let me tell you how to play Bev. Like, fucking Wendy's a genius. And you can't change the look of the show. Like, I met with Adam, you know, when you do the tone meeting in the beginning. He's like, you know, I know you come from movies. And he's going, I hate to tell you this, but we don't shoot real difficult here. Or you know, it's pretty simple. He's like, we shoot wide, cowboy, and close-up. That's it. And I was like, well, I don't know how to tell you this. That's all you were fucking getting anyway. That's all I shoot in my day job and stuff. So you can't change the look of the show because it's set. You can't like be like, guess what? This week it's going to be black and white in one fucking shot. So at the end of the day, you have no real impact on those two aspects of the process, and that's what I think of as directing. So I had to figure out what my fucking role there is, other than as observer. So literally, I would just watch them make the Goldbergs. So I figured, I guess the reason they brought me back for the season finale, or why I got to go, why I keep getting brought back, is because I'm enthusiastic. It's about it. It's the nearest I could figure, because I direct like a Baptist preacher on coke. And so it's all passion and all like, oh my God, even when we're in a second take, I'm like, we're going one more take, but not because of you. All the good was yours, only the bad is mine. We're going one more take because I missed something else. But this is a beautiful opportunity, kids, because we'll never have this chance in our lives again. You'll never say this shit again. You'll never be standing right there. I'll never be standing right here. This is a perfect moment in time. So why don't we seize the moment, man, and crack its fucking bones open and suck the marrow out, man, because we got this great job where we make pretend for a living, and we make pretend in the best place on earth, at the fucking Goldbergs. Let's do this. And that kind of enthusiasm, I guess, translates. That works. That's why I've gotten rehired. It's the nearest I can figure, because other than that, I've brought nothing to these shows.
Are the Flash and Supergirl the same way?
Same way.
Season 2 and 3.
Same way. Honestly, when I'm on those shows, think about it. You've got two teams. They A/B those shows. So you've got a DP on one show who's different from the DP on the next show. So you got two crews of teams that shoot that show and shoot it beautifully and brilliantly on a regular basis. And there's a specific look to it, so you can't change the look of that show either. If you do, people tuning in would be like, this ain't fucking Supergirl. And then when it comes to the performances, you can't, what am I going to tell Melissa how to play that part? Like, let me show you how to play fucking Supergirl, having been a middle-aged 46-year-old man. You know, like, she's innately perfect at playing that role. Her, you know, acting is a job of choices, and she always, infallibly, makes the perfect choice. So there's no direction there other than walking over and being like, you're so good, and then you walk away, and that's all you say and stuff. So I can't really affect it there, but what they keep bringing me back for, I think, is because the passion. Like, I'm just way into it, and it makes them happy. A lot of these shows, you notice, I go into Supergirl season 2, Flash season 3, 2 and 3, Goldbergs season 4. These are people that have been doing this for a while, so they're used to one perspective, their own perspective on the material and stuff. But I come from an outside perspective. I come from a guy who just likes watching this shit. So I'm able to come to him like with a message from another planet. Like, you don't understand the good you do here. Like, same thing I did on the Goldbergs, I did on Supergirl. I was like, look, you guys are in a fucking concrete building 9 months out of the year, so you don't have any idea the impact you have. But I'm here to tell you, I'm out in the world, and I've seen the impact. And like on Supergirl, there was an article about this little girl in school who took pictures dressed like Supergirl and shit, and got over some speech impediments. It was a real warm story, man, but it was all predicated on she fucking loves that show. I was like, that's the work you do. Like, look at that little girl. She wasn't going to take her school pictures and shit. She's all embarrassed of her speech impediment. Your fucking show empowers that girl. That's the beauty of what you're doing here. I know you think you're doing a goofy show about a space girl that flies around and saves people, but it's way bigger than that. And so when you come with that perspective, people are like, oh, shit. Like, suddenly they're looking at the job through new eyes and stuff. So I guess that's why I keep getting brought back, but it's nothing else. Like, I've been trying to figure it out, man, and I bring no vision whatsoever. They have scripts written for you. Andy wrote this script. It was fantastic. And, you know, you could tag up, throw some jokes in, but no point, man. Like, it's perfect. And those Flash and Supergirl scripts are beautiful things I can't even do. Can't write like that. So, like, at the end of the day, I can affect no change whatsoever, except I can make everybody fucking happy to be at work. And when you're in season 4 of a show or season 3 of a show, sometimes that matters. Like, that's what I've been told. They're like, dude, you're worth your weight in gold because you make them happy. The cast and the crew, they're happy being around you. And I was like, but so you're paying me to be their friend? Like, this doesn't make sense. But they're like, directing is not just the way you see it. It's done in a bunch of different ways, and this is just one of them. And shit. So it's fun to do, but I still can't get my head around it. I don't think I'm good at it.
All right, guys, we saw you. Actually, do you want to answer your last question?
Yeah, because we saw you direct Supergirl. We saw some Easter eggs that you threw your own like yoga hosers, and we
so
saw
close to my ears.
and so we got to see that. Are we going to see any Easter eggs that you're going to throw into this episode?
I didn't. And honestly, the Easter eggs on the other shows, I would never ask to put them in because it's slippery slope. Mm-hmm. Like I learned that on. You ever watch Cinema Sins on YouTube? Mm-hmm. I love Cinema Sins. It's a genius show. One day they asked me, "Hey, you want to do a voiceover? You want to do the voice this week?" And fuck yeah, I love it. And they were doing Star Wars. Like, oh my god. So I did their script. I threw in a few of my things, but basically their fucking script. And the episode goes up, and it's the most hated episode of Cinema Sins. People are like, this fucking sucks. Who is this guy? Who does he think he is? Why does he think he's funny? And I was like, what the fuck? I was just doing Cinema Sins. And I realized I was doing my version of Cinema Sins. Everyone tunes in for Cinema Sins. And just because you're the new guy, you don't necessarily have to be like, here's my spin on it. Like, what they want to see is the thing they see every week. If I go to the Goldbergs and like, Jeff, now play it completely fucking differently, you break the fucking show. So at the end of the day, I try not to inflict my taste on things. So like in Supergirl this week, the girls come out of a yoga studio and it said yoga hosiers or something like that. And everyone's like, you fucking put that in. I was like, I didn't. The production designer Tyler put it in. I didn't fight him because I was like, finally, a commercial for yoga hosiers. But it was more like I let somebody else suggest it. And so on this show, there was nothing that I was like, ooh, I want to reference. Like at one point we were going to do a tag where Jay and Silent Bob were outside of the Wawa. But Jay wasn't in town and we found a way better tag that's inherent to the story. That's the other thing. You don't want to come and be like, let me smear my fucking feces all over it. You want to show that you can do their show. So our episode ends with a better tag than Jay and Silent Bob. It's a tag that involves the character and it's about the story itself. So I try not to, show up and be like, let me just put ads in for myself. But when it happens, it's a cool thing. If other people are like, hey, we want to do this. Like, almost doing it on this show felt very sweet, but at the same time, it felt like, maybe not this episode. Maybe one day down the road. Sooner or later, me and Jay will stand outside the Wawa. We have to. But not right away.
Totally.